Let me crack. No, it's not happening.
Hello and welcome to Just Kiss My Frog. This day we have Hannah Witton. How's your YouTube? I don't know. You've seen Hannah on lots of stuff. We have a podcast together with Lucy Moon called the Banging Book Club, where we read books about sex. But today I wanted to talk about relationships. So basically, I made a video about a year and a half ago called The Truth About Being Single.
And then I copied her.
And then we made a fluid journey towards singleness online with lots of people making videos about it.
Single
really
was
cool.
my brand.
Yeah,
it was,
and it was mine too.
Yeah.
And I think I was talking about
breaking up with your fiance was your brand.
that was great for my analytics. People love a good tragedy. So basically, I used to be engaged, and we were together for 6-7 years, and then we broke up, and then it was this big transition of me having this identity as somebody who was engaged and in love and childhood love, and that's how I moved to London.
A single identity.
And then that big leap, I think it's kind of dramatic, especially in other people's eyes. People were I think when you're sad about a breakup, but then if you break up with somebody who you're engaged to, everyone's like, are you okay? And I'm like, it's literally the same thing. It's just as heartbreaking. Yeah. But yeah, and then you were single for a very long time as well, weren't you?
I was single for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had a relationship in my teens, between 17 and 19, and then that ended. And then I went to university, and then literally just from there, been single up until 9 months ago.
Yeah, and then mine was about 9 months ago too. We've grown a relationship in this time. Baby. We both started getting close to these people, and we were like, Hannah, I think we're falling in love. And she was like, oh fuck, I think we are. And I think for me, I'd been single for 3 years, and I was just a bit like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about that transition really. I personally was quite I'm never going to be able to be in a relationship again. I'm not really, I don't think I'm a relationship person.
Oh, really?
And I think that I blamed a lot of what was going on with my last relationship as I'm just not suited to relationships. How did you feel about it before you were?
At the beginning of my single 6 years, it was very much
The single six.
Single six.
The 7-year itch.
To be honest, I can weirdly kind of put it in
Batches.
So I would say first 2 years, maybe 3, pretty much most of university, I was a commitment phobe because I had left this relationship and was just I'm just having fun, and anytime I got close to someone, I ran away. That was the whole Tim H thing. You guys know about that because we and him made a video. So that was
kissing thumbnail.
I know, right? That was the era of the commitment phobe, Hannah. And then we got to Hannah living in London, which was I don't know, still carefree and single, but dating and doing stuff. And then we get to Hannah a year and a half ago after coming off the pill, and I'd met someone and I really fancied them, and then they just did a 180 and were just no, and then I was really heartbroken, and then I was just I just want a boyfriend, and then I found one.
You're basically mail order, I'm on the look now.
But that then that just happened.
Yeah.
Because I also, at the time that I met Dan, I was it's never going to happen for me, because someone else had just broken my heart. I was it's never going to happen for me, I'm going to write a book, 25 dates before I turn 25, and then I meet him, and I was
and you're
oh shit.
Fucked a book deal, but got a really great boyfriend. Because I think as well, we're both what are we, 7s on the Enneagram, which is all about new experiences and being really excited to go out and do anything, and not predicting the future and being more I'm just gonna explore life, which in some ways isn't conducive to a monogamous serious relationship to some people.
Yeah.
But I found it to be fine. It's really weird.
I find ways to get that fix or that hit
that sweet
that I need
fix.
whilst being very happy and content being in a monogamous relationship. So the other night, I was out with a friend, and there was a music night, and there was a really cute drummer there, and my friend thought he was really hot, and I go up to the bar, and then drummer guy is stood there, and I get talking to him, and I was just oh, you were great, let me buy you a drink, come sit with me and my friend. And the buzz that I got from that was all I needed.
Hunter-gatherer, really. You just because again, I think a lot of the skills are the things that you have, you think are oh, I'm so like flirty and crazy, and more like just social skills.
Yeah.
Like you have some great social skills. You can keep using those.
Yeah,
you can keep meeting people.
Because then him and my friend were just like chatting loads, and I kept on thinking like, oh, at what point do I need to like just drop into the conversation that I have a partner, so go for her instead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and just be like, by the way,
not available.
I'm the John the Baptist. Here is Jesus.
I am the messenger.
Yeah, it's like, I think as well, like I kind of like thought that I would worry about it more, or that I'd lose my identity as being single, because again, like I kind of like I always make videos about how I'm going on holiday on my own,
yeah,
and I'm like making my own way, and then I was really worried that I was gonna like struggle with that, and I just haven't really. I don't know why. I think it's like you find out other parts of your identity are more important, or
yeah, I've definitely, like, going off our 7 Enneagramness of like constantly seeking new experiences, I've definitely found that since being in a relationship, but it's especially because of the kind of person Dan is, which is like he's so chill and content, and it's just made me like a bit more chill. So I'm not having to like constantly like seek experiences for happiness, because I have that already.
Yeah, you need somebody to go like, hey, what you have is good.
Yeah, but I'll still like go and have those experiences, but I don't feel like they're necessary for my overall happiness, which is great. But yeah, it's really interesting because I feel like so many of my friends know me as being single, and that's a huge part of my identity. And I remember being out for dinner, and Lucy was there, and some other friends as well. Our waiter was very attractive, and one of our friends really fancied him. And so at the end of the meal, we got his name as well, because one of the other waiters was like, Oliver will serve you. We were like, you were like, oh, Oliver. Cool, great.
Can we have some more?
And I was just like, give him your number. And she was like, no, I can't. I was like, I'll do it. And so I like get out, I was like, does anyone have a pen? And no one had a pen. So I got a cocktail stick and was scratching her number into this card.
So old school.
Then I remember Lucy saying, like, she was like, oh, sometimes I feel like I really miss single Hannah. But that was her right there. That was single Hannah.
You're still here. You're in there.
Like, I'm still here, guys.
In your broody state.
I'm just, like, playing Cupid for other people.
Because it's hard as well, like, I think, like, as, like, public feminists, it's like, I'm always really worried that I'm like, do people think I'm spending too much time with my boyfriend? Do people think that I'm like...
People have started, like, on my Twitter and Instagram and stuff, like, just kind of being like, my boyfriend, because I talk about
dinner with this one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if that's something that you're doing, I don't know, it's really strange, but I'm like...
It's just like a lot of my experiences, like, he's there, or are related to him.
Yeah, and it's something that I've never had in a relationship before. I'm totally fine sharing all those experiences, and I don't feel like my experience is altered by him being there, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that some people, like, if I'm like, I bring him somewhere, it's going to change the dynamic of something, and it never does. And it's like, I think as well, it's like this thing of like, there is internalized sexism where it's like, oh, you're spending your time with your boyfriend, like you're giving your time to boys, and I'm like, gender isn't a thing. I'm spending time with my best friend. I'm always having a laugh, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, you went on holiday with your boyfriend.
And we also
went
have
on holiday
sex
with my best friend that I have sex with. Realistically looking at it and being like, am I being absorbed into my relationship, or is this a healthy relationship? You know, am I just like being like, oh, is this what happens when people really enjoy their relationships and they don't want to escape from their spouse?
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that like I've had to kind of navigate in my life as well, like from being single for so long, and the only people that I feel like obligated to spend time with you who are like I want to spend time with are like my friends and then my family, and then usually if you're in a relationship you spend a lot of time with that person and it eats into your time, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but I remember going into this relationship being hyper aware of how I was splitting my time. But I think one of the easy things for me was that because me and him are like, I would like kind of long distance basically. Not long distance, we don't live in the same city.
Yeah, not like intensely.
Yeah, so we only see each other at weekends. So in my head I just compartmentalized my time. I was just like, weekdays is for work and friends, weekends are for my partner.
Yeah.
And do
you think that was like helpful for your transition of like going from like single to, you know, like having that time?
Yeah. And also it was really helpful because even a few months before I met him, I'd already started to compartmentalize my work. And I was like, I'm only working Monday to Friday, 9 to 6.
Yeah.
So like my weekends were already free, and then he came into my life. I was like, perfect, I have this time to give you.
You're like, great, because I have been looking to utilise these units of time.
I can schedule you in.
Like when you're first in a relationship, you're like, you want to spend all your time with them, and I'm like, should I be doing that? A measured, and I didn't for a while. I was like, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, have 4. Like, like I'm kind of throwing it in, like being like, okay, I can spend a little bit more time. I can spend a little bit more time, and it's that thing of then realizing that actually you're more productive around them. Like I do lots of my like work around YouTube and podcasts while he's around, and he like motivates me to do it. That was just understanding that like this is what a healthy relationship is, and this is this is how I do relationships, and doesn't have to be the normal way. But I actually found it kind of easy after the initial bit of being like, is all my time gonna go?
Oh, I found it so easy, like just surprisingly easy, and especially because when I was single, I was like, I don't even remember what it's like to be in a relationship. What's that like? Like, how do you even do that properly? And now I'm in one. It's like, oh, you just do what everyone else does and like make it up as you go along.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's what everyone is doing. You just
improvise.
Make it up. Yeah.
Is there anything that you remember from being in a relationship that you're like, oh yeah, that's a cool thing, or like or like, oh yeah, or like
regular sex,
like, not having to reteach every person. Like,
God, because my last relationship was so long ago, and I feel like I was such a different person then. I'm like,
I think it's like stuff like bringing them to see my family. I'm like, oh yeah, we can do that together. Like that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
Like I think also like sleeping on one side of the bed. I was like, I've literally
I have a side now. I never had a side.
I just adjusted to sleeping in the middle. It took like 3 years, and I was like, the middle is where I belong. And then I was like, I guess I'm over here now. So that was interesting. Somebody scratch your back where you can't reach.
Oh,
excellent.
My God. We'll be walking down the street, and he'll just go, oh, Hannah, can you scratch my back? And like we're just walking down the street as I'm going, listen, he's like up a bit to the left.
So useful, like human coat hangers, seriously. And yeah, just having somebody to talk something through with. Like sometimes I forget and I don't tell him something, or I don't talk something through with him, and then he's like, hey, what? I didn't know that was happening. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I can utilise your emotional intelligence to help me get through this problem. I totally forgot that was a resource that I can, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's, I don't know, is there anything that you found like hard, or anything that you're like, oh?
I think...
Do you think you could have been in this relationship if it wasn't for your single time?
No, absolutely not.
Me neither.
Because, and I think me and him met at a time where both of us, like, individually in our lives, like, we were ready for this kind of commitment. Would not have been. I think it was just like, I was like, singleness is great, but I've done it. I was like, and like, there's nothing wrong with being single, and I loved it, and but I was just like, do you know, I like fancy something like a little bit new and different, and it wasn't that then. Like after that, I was like seeking a relationship. I still like think that that's not the way to go about and get one. But what I knew was I was just like, I'm open to one now. I was just like then going about my life being like, maybe give people a chance, because before I would just be like, oh, they're not perfect, so
they're not worth giving up this for.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think as well, like for me, I like now I look at that pocket of time when I was really single and really like pretty happy, to be like, that's my safety blanket. That's why I can be in a relationship, because I know that I'm not staying in the relationship out of fear of being single. Because I know that single is a happy place for me, and that's a good, safe, nice thing that I can do. So I'm not in it to avoid that. I'm not running from something. I'm running towards something else.
We are sickening to be around.
It's literally I'm literally like, I want to wear his skin. Like I could literally like,
when we first started going out, I was just like, I want to get inside your head. I want to live in your brain. And
we're the creepiest
he was just like, that would be really uncomfortable.
We're just like, I feel like I'm a really creepy person, and I'm like, good that I'm saving the rest of the boy race from this.
I'm trying to think of other like practical,
because I think we both also got quite serious quite fast.
Yeah.
Compared to other people, whatever. But like,
but when you know.
Yeah, like it's at that period where it's like we don't see our lives without them.
Woo!
The fear. The fear's still there, see? I said that sentence and we were both like, I think that it's, but I think that's because we're both quite confident, happy people, single.
Yeah.
Don't know. Yeah. Thoughts on singleness? Has anybody else gone through this? I don't know. But I will leave the links to both of our single videos below if you want to see the transition. I'll leave Hannah's links below if you haven't seen her. Why not? Cool. Let us know in the comments below what you're saying.
Just like,
this is my current single status, my declaration of independence.
I just like hearing about people's experiences of that transition to either like relationship to singledom or singledom to a relationship, and the expectations of a relationship and then the reality of it.
Yeah, because also again, like I feel like we both subconsciously felt like singleness was our brand, which is so silly.
Yeah.
And I didn't intentionally go out to do that, but people were like, oh, I've seen your channel, like your video about being single. And I'm like, thank you. Professional Bridget Jones over here. Like, yeah, so it's interesting. Anyway, let us know your thoughts below. Thank you for watching.
Watch my video, the Hormone Diaries.
Oh yeah, we've also made a Hormone Diaries episode all about my weird ovaries. Ooh.
PCOS.
Who would guess? You can go and hear about my ladybeard. Joys.
Yay.
Okay. See you later. Frog slug out.
Bye.